Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome if you're new. I hope you're all doing well and welcome back to another video. It is a weekly reading vlog, but with a twist. I've been seeing this trend go around for a couple of weeks now and I've always thought it was a really cool idea, and I personally think I need the motivation to read more. I need something to push me because Mark got a new video game at the beginning of September and I was like, September's gonna be my reading month. All he's gonna do is want to play his game. That gives me so much time to read, and I haven't really read a lot. Mark even keeps saying to me, I thought you were gonna read a lot this month because I'm playing my game all the time, and I don't like the fact that he's right. I've barely read anything. I say barely, I've still finished 4 books and I'm still on track to finish my September TBR, but I feel like I'm not making the most use out of him being completely distracted, not wanting my attention whilst playing his video game. I'm not making the most use out of my free time. So I've seen this trend go around where a wheel selects how much you're going to read per day. Now I see these videos and they set like 1 hour to 12 hours. There is no way that with my work and my life, I'm going to read 12 hours a day if that gets given to me. So I'm going to make this challenge a little bit more realistic for myself, but also allow myself to be pushed and read more than I would usually. So I've set up a wheel on a free wheel app and I've set the hours between 1 hour and 5 hours with half-hour increments. So it goes 1 hour, 1.5 hours, 2 hours, 2.5, 3, 3.5, 4, 4.5, 5. And that's basically the plan. I'm going to let a wheel decide how much I'm going to read per day every single day this week because I don't really have anything else planned for the week bar just wanting to read a lot. So my aim for this week is, can I finish the rest of my September TBR? I only have about 2.5 books left. I've started this one and then I have these two to complete. Can I finish 1, my September TBR this week? 2, can I push myself to read more than I would usually? Because I have no other plans. So like, what else am I going to spend my time doing? And if I don't read a lot this week, then I really have just wasted time. So that's the plan. Because I just feel like I'm procrastinating now, without further ado, let's spin the wheel for the first time. It's currently set at 3 hours, so let's see what it gives me. I'm low-key very nervous about this. I don't want 5 for the first day, but also today would be a good day to get a high number because I'm working from home. 2.5. I can do 2.5. 2.5 is good. I may have to pick up an audiobook. I'm just about to start my lunch break, so I'll read on my lunch break, that's absolutely fine. But I have a very busy day at work, so we'll see how much reading I can get done. I'm also in charge of cooking dinner tonight, so the aim today is, preferably if I can read for 2.5 hours, I might be able to finish my current read, which 7 Days of June by Tia Williams is my current read, and it basically is a second chance romance, but more kind of adult because apparently there's no miscommunication. It's really kind of realistic in a way that they communicate and kind of deal with each other's emotions, and it follows them in the past and present. They had a kind of friendship, that's all I know so far, 15 years ago when they're in high school, and then they don't speak. 15 years have passed and then they bump into each other unintentionally and rekindle what they had. If you can hear the rain, it is storming outside today, which is perfect for a day of 2.5 hours of reading. So this is my current read. Hopefully I can finish it today with the 2.5 hours I need to read. And then the other 2 books on my TBR is I Heart Christmas and Big Summer, so completely different vibes. So that's the plan for this week's reading vlog. I thought I'd switch things up because I have just been vlogging my life recently and I haven't had any like little challenges within these weekly reading vlogs, so I thought I'd switch it up. I hope you guys enjoy. Let's see if I can actually achieve this goal. First day, Monday the 18th of September, I have to read for 2.5 hours. Is that focused? There you go. Okay, it's my lunch break. I have leftover shepherd's pie. I need to read some more of this. I've got about 20 minutes-ish left of my lunch break because I need to edit some of the video for tomorrow. So I don't have like all my lunch break to read, but that's fine. I'll get some in. I need to start the timer though. I feel really chaotic now I have this challenge going. So how do I do it? Do you set a timer and go backwards, or do you set a stopwatch? I've seen people do both. Let's do a timer. No, actually, let's do a stopwatch because I'll know I need a timer later for dinner. Stopwatch. So let's start stopwatch. 2.5 hours to go. Let's see how far I can get into this. finished reading for my lunch break, got over 100 pages in. I'm now on page 106, so doing all right. 23 minutes into my timer, so just over 2 hours left to read for the day. I need to go crack on with work now, I'm really busy, and then hopefully in the evening I can read a lot, fingers crossed, otherwise day one is an absolute fail. Work is finished for the day, I need to make dinner, and then all I'm going to be doing is reading. Than it is. It's only just past 9 o'clock in the evening, but I finished my 2.5 hours of reading today. Let me just show you on my timer. 2.5 hours read. Whoop, whoop, whoop. And I started this morning on page 87 of 7 Days in June, and I'm now on page 236. So definitely tomorrow I'll finish it, depending on what my timer tells me to read. My eyes feel so tired now though, so I am gonna like not read anymore. I was gonna read a bit more, but I don't really feel like reading a bit more, so I'm gonna leave it here for today. And yeah, I'm just very proud of myself that I actually managed to read 2.5 hours today, which is more than I've read in a very, very long time. I've read about 150 pages, which is brilliant. I'm really enjoying 7 Days of June now. I love the characters. I love how like detailed they are, how real they feel. I've heard that they feel real, but reading them, they really do feel like real people with real issues. And there's no like pettiness or miscommunication in it, which is great. It's very real and raw, and I'm really enjoying kind of the two timelines of like what happened in the past to present, and kind of like all the kind of jumps and stuff that you get between those timelines to kind of fill in the gaps of why they kind of lost contact. So really enjoying it. I'm intrigued to kind of see how it ends, because obviously I'm over halfway through it now, so I don't really know kind of, there's not much left. So what can kind of happen in the last like 100 pages to kind of wrap the story up, because I feel like we've only just like got into like the main gritty part of it, so I'm intrigued to kind of see how the author kind of wraps up the last 100 pages. But yeah, excited to continue reading this tomorrow, and then I'll be able to start a new book, because I read so much today. I'm so happy and proud of myself. But yeah, my camera's gonna die, so I'm gonna leave it here, and we'll spin tomorrow the wheel again to see how much I'm gonna read on Tuesday. Night, guys. Happy Tuesday. It's really early in the morning. It's 6:15 in the morning. As you saw, I spun the wheel. I only got 1 hour of reading to do today, which will be easily doable. I can just read on my lunch break, that's absolutely fine, and then read a little bit when I get home. So most likely I will complete the hour timer really easily today. However, my goal is to still finish this book today. It might take me just over an hour because I have just under 100 pages to read. So it'll probably take me over the hour, but that's absolutely fine. So that's kind of like the goal today, is to finish this book, focusing more on that rather than the timer, because I've only got an hour to read, so I'm sure that'll be easily doable. So yeah, happy Tuesday. Time to go to work. I'll see you when I get home. What a day. What a day. I haven't read anything at all today. I didn't go into the office. I went to get in my car just after filming that clip, and the check engine light came on again. And I had to get it into the garage to check what was going on with it. Stress. I managed to get that in, but I ended up working from home, which was fine because I had my work laptop today. So I ended up working from home, but it was a really stressful day. I was like eating lunch whilst working because it was that busy and just chaotic and just no time to breathe. And then after work, I had to go pick up some things I'd ordered, because otherwise I wouldn't have had time to get them the rest of the week. So I've only just got back home and it's like 6 o'clock. I haven't read anything, I haven't made dinner, Mark's not home yet. I feel very like frazzled, but I'm still hoping that I can read the rest of this today and obviously get started on my 1 hour timer. Luckily, thank God, out of all the days, today I only have to read for an hour. So even if I don't finish this book, I could still complete the challenge for today of reading for an hour, because that will definitely be possible. But oh my God, today has been chaotic, and I just need to like breathe and de-stress and just chill out for a little bit. I just feel like I've been go, go, go all day, whether that's taking the car to the garage, waiting for the car at the garage, picking up things for my car, picking up things I had on order, and doing work, not really having a lunch break because I was eating and doing work, and I just, right, time to de-stress and organise the office, because I feel like it's just getting a bit chaotic with everything on the floor and things on a desk, and just tidy space, tidy mind, is that what they say? So I'm gonna sort out the office and then start on dinner, because I don't know when Mark is gonna get home. So yeah, anyway, ramble over, I'll keep you posted, and I'll let you know when I actually start reading. It's just come up to 8 o'clock and I'm only just sat down to read. I'm still hopeful I can finish this today. Let's go. Just come up to bed. So before I get ready for bed, I finished. I read for a total of an hour, and then I started my stopwatch. So an hour and 13 minutes to finish the last like 100-ish pages of 7 Days of June. Very, very happy that it's finished. It was a cute book. I definitely liked kind of how mature it was in terms of like the communication and how they felt towards each other and the way they expressed their feelings. I loved how they kind of kept reconnecting. It was definitely a second chance romance, and I really enjoyed the aspect. I loved how there was like children involved and kind of like a deeper understanding than just a romance. So I really like that aspect, but I would say go into it knowing less and just kind of know that it's a second chance romance with really mature kind of themes and more depth to the characters than you would expect from your kind of like your fluffy romance. It's definitely more of a serious romance. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. I don't know what I'm going to rate it. I think I need to think about it, because I don't know whether I'm in like the end of a book rush high that I would rate it a 4-star, or whether it's more like a 3.5. So I need to think about it, but very happy to have finished this book and done my timer for the day. I'll check in with you tomorrow morning to find out how much I'm going to read on Wednesday. Right, guys. Happy Wednesday. It's early again. It's 6:15, because I thought if I get like 5 hours on the timer, then I need audiobook time, which is driving to and from work, which I'm about to start doing. So we need to get the spinner wheel back up for it to decide how much I'm going to be reading today. It's going to be like a big number. I can just feel it. So let's go. Is that focused? There you go. 4.5 hours. Yeah. I'm very glad I just did that so I can get some audiobook time in. Unfortunately, the books I want to start, Big Summer, there is an audiobook for it, so it's going to be a mix of audiobook and physical book today, but I don't know what my audiobook's going to be. That's the thing, because this is a physical book. I would love to get something off my physical TBR, so I need to have a look at Scribd. 4.5 hours? I need to have a look at Scribd and see what I want to read for an audiobook to and from work today. Like, I knew it was going to be a big number. It's like the second biggest number I can get in my personal little spinner, so that's fun. I could read Best Men. I'm not going to get them all out because I don't have time, but I do have Best Men on my physical TBR. I also have The Secret of Happiness by Lucy Diamond, which is an audiobook, which I could read, but I do like reading Lucy Diamond books physically. 7X's, Yellow Face, The How and Why. I have quite a few. Icebreaker, Conversations with Friends. I have quite a few, but none that I really want to read. The thing is, I already have... Am I even in focus today? I don't think I was in focus for that entire clip. The thing is, I already have my Magical Thon TBR planned out, and there are a lot of books on my physical TBR that I'm trying to save for that week. So it's a bit tricky. You know what? This is on my Magical Thon TBR, but it's so big that if I want to try and read 8 books in 1 week, I don't think this is the book that I should read. The How and the Why by Cynthia Hand. And it's a YA and there's an audiobook for it. So I might as well just try and conquer this book. So I'm going to start this on my commute to and from work. And then have this as my physical book. And they should be quite different. This one's a YA about the foster care system, and this is like an adult contemporary. So they should be quite different to be able to distinguish in my brain. So that's the plan. Let's get to reading. I've got 4.5 hours to do. It is now Wednesday evening. Am I in focus? Yes. I have 1 hour and 52 minutes left on my timer. And it started off at 4.5 hours obviously this morning. I managed to read my audiobook to and from work, listen to a little bit while I was like prepping dinner and showering and stuff now, and I also read on my lunch break. I don't have the books up here, they're downstairs ready so I can smash out the last hour and 50 minutes of reading this evening, even though it is 7:30, so I don't know if that's actually going to be possible. Potentially, I don't know, we'll see. This is the first day where I feel like I might not accomplish it, but you know what, it's fine, it's a challenge. If I don't complete it, it's not the end of the world, but it just feels very satisfying when you do complete it. So the 2 books that I'm currently in the middle of are Cynthia Hand's The How and the Why and Big Summer by Jennifer Weiner, I want to say it's how you pronounce the name. Big Summer was on my TBR, which I started today, and then obviously The How and the Why wasn't on my September TBR, but I needed an audiobook for work so I could actually try and complete today's timer challenge. And I'm actually really pleasantly surprised at how much I'm enjoying The How and the Why, because obviously it's a YA, I'm definitely growing out of YA, but there's only like a select few that I read now. So reading a YA from an author that I haven't read from before, it's been on my TBR for a while, obviously since I used to love YA, I was apprehensive going into it, but I am really enjoying it so far. But what I love most about it is that yes, it's a YA, but the family are really heavily involved, which is kind of like one of the main reasons why I don't really particularly love YA, is because the family time gets forgotten, especially in YA romance, which is maybe why I'm preferring this one more, because it's a YA contemporary. Romance is very kind of like in the backseat right now, and it's definitely more about character growth and the family dynamic and just kind of like learning who you are. So this book basically follows our main character. I don't know her name. What's her name? Cass. Follows our main character Cass, who was adopted when she was a baby. And the fascinating thing is that you get her perspective just as she's turning 18. She has her 18th birthday in the first chapter. But then you get letters from her birth mother explaining why she gave her up in like in between chapters, and you get like both perspectives on how the birth mother became pregnant, who her father is from the birth mother's perspective, and kind of like how she grew up young and pregnant, and how the world was when she was kind of in that sticky situation, not really knowing what to do with her life. And then you also follow Cass, who has now been adopted and is 18 years old, who's trying to find out her past, trying to find out who her birth mother is, but also trying to deal with like college applications and friendship and romance. And she has a really good family that like really are involved in her life. So I'm just really enjoying it. But also is that her main character and her best friend are both massively into musical theatre. So they both auditioned for their school play for the semester, and it's Into the Woods. So there's lots of Disney references, and her best friend got Cinderella, and they like talk about Disney references, and that I really enjoy, just because there's a subtle kind of like Disney aspect to the book, which I wasn't expecting and really enjoying. And then the other thing that I'm really finding interesting, and I really hope the author throughout this book delves more into, because it is a big chunky book, so I'm really hoping there's lots of character growth, lots of development and lots of discussion, especially on this topic of her mum is sadly in hospital because she has a failing heart and she's waiting for a heart transplant. I don't see transplants, organ transplants at all in books really, and to stumble across an organ transplant in a YA book, I'm really fascinated to see how they play that storyline out, because obviously I've had a kidney transplant, so obviously not a kidney transplant, it's a heart transplant, but I am kind of intrigued to kind of see like what they do with this storyline and how they take it, in which direction. So yes, I love that aspect too. Another thing I love about this, the one thing I do obviously love is the family dynamic, but the way her family talk about safe sex and allowing her to understand what to do, how to do it, but also be open and friendly about it, and just kind of like completely honest and realistic, but also allowing her to make her own decisions. She's 18, she's never had a boyfriend, and she has a surprise birthday party, and her best friend takes her to it, and she's talking to her best friend being like, I'm now 18, I think it's time for me to have sex, I'm ready to have a boyfriend. And she's saying this as she's walking up to her house, and all her family and friends are on the other side of the door waiting to say surprise. Everyone hears her, like what she's saying, so when she opens the door and everyone says surprise, she's like, I want to have sex. It's just the way they then deal with that situation, being like, go you, but just be safe, and do I need to get you condoms and all that sort of stuff, and do you want to get on birth control? Like, all this stuff is so normal and so open in her family, which I love the fact that that's getting promoted in a YA book as well. So overall, I'm just really enjoying it. I haven't, on a side note, my other book that I'm reading, I started the physical book of it today whilst I was reading at work during my lunch break, Big Summer. I'm enjoying that one so far, but I'm really not that far into it. I'm only 30 pages into it, whereas I've got up to page like over 100 in the How and the Why via audiobook. So I'm not very far into Big Summer at all. All it is, it follows two main characters, Daphne and Drew, who used to be best friends in high school, and they have both had successful lives away from each other because they had a big falling out. So then when, I think it's Daphne has a wedding on Cape Cod, and they haven't spoken to Drew in ages, but asked Drew to be maid of honour, Drew has this drawback to Daphne and feels like she has to take part in this role when they haven't spoken for ages, and I think it's just kind of like what happened between them. So I'm not very far into that one at all. Obviously that's now my main focus for the rest of the evening because I'm about to go sit down on the sofa and read for the rest of the evening, but I've been rambling for a very long time, so I'm gonna go smash out the rest of this timer. Fingers crossed I can. I'll let you know if I did it or not, and yeah, I'll keep you posted on my thoughts on both of these books, but I am very, very pleasantly surprised at how much I'm enjoying the How and the Why. Minutes left, or 41 minutes left on my timer. I am so tired but semi-determined to do this. Usually I don't go to sleep until like 9:30, maybe 1:45 if my book is good, so I could still do it if I don't ramble too much but I'm just so tired. And also this book is very dense. There's a lot of description compared to dialogue, and it constantly jumps back and forth in time between when Daphne and Drew became friends and then kind of like their present timeline of when they're kind of like trying to rekindle something, and there's a lot of drama and there's a lot of like flipping between the two timelines, and it's kind of hard to wrap my head around sometimes, especially when I'm this tired, but I could still potentially do it, so I'm going to give it my best shot. But I'll probably update you now in the morning, but fingers crossed I can do 4.5 hours of reading today. I'll be very, very impressed myself if I can. But on that note, I'm going to call it a night, get into bed and try and finish off this timer and read some more of this book. But I'm now actually 100 pages in, almost 90 pages into this, so we are making good progress. Night, guys. Time for bed. I got to page 132. Hi guys. Another day, same angle, time to spin the wheel again. I just managed 4.5 hours yesterday, and that was with my evening completely free to read. I'm going to my mum's for dinner this evening, which means not that much reading time this evening, and I just I don't want 4.5 or 5 hours again. I think I could do anything other than that. So let's see what I get. I'm getting scared now because I thought 4.5 hours would be doable listening to an audiobook to and from work on my lunch break, but it was like a push. And I didn't really talk to Mark at all last night. So let's see how many hours I get today. Please be something nice. 1.5. I can do 1.5. I can do 1.5. Oh my gosh, thank God for that. Okay, I can do 1.5. That's fine. To and from work will probably almost make up for that time, and then just a bit before bed, I should be able to do 1.5 hours. Thank God for that. Right, happy Thursday, guys. It's jumper weather, yes. And I'm in the office today, if my car will work. So let's go. It is 8:10 in the evening, done a full day's at work, just got home from my mum's from having dinner with her, which was lovely, and I have 3 minutes left on my timer. 3 minutes left on my timer. And that's purely from listening to my audiobook to and from work basically today. because I haven't physically read anything. So I'm so grateful that I only had a little bit of reading to do today. But I probably will read over the hour-and-a-half mark. I'm going to listen to 3 minutes more of my audiobook now just to get the timer out of the way, and then I might physically read for a little bit before falling asleep later on this evening once I've chilled out with Mark for a little bit. So that's the plan. I feel like this time of thing's gone too well. Like I've had like a chill day, busy day, chill day, and now I feel like tomorrow might be a busy day, but that's fine. I'm working from home, so I might have a bit more flexibility in terms of like how much I can read. So we'll see what happens tomorrow, but I'll keep you posted. I'm really, really, really enjoying The How and the Why by Cynthia Hand, for the fact that it's a YA as well. I said most of my points yesterday, so I won't kind of like re-elaborate, but really, really enjoying it. And I think it's because it's more of a contemporary than it is a romance. So I think that maybe might be the area of YA I'm now still only enjoying. It's like the contemporary side of things more so than like the romance. There are little bits here and there that I'm like, yeah, it's kind of like a typical YA character trait and like situation they would put themselves in a very YA-esque, but overall really enjoying kind of like her wanting to find her family, like her birth family, and kind of like her identity crisis, and then applying to college and all that sort of stuff. So I'm really enjoying kind of like the contemporary side of things, and there's like no romance, which is lovely in a YA for once. So yeah, really enjoying that. Don't really have any thoughts on Big Summer, even though I'm like 100 pages in. It's fine. I'm reading it, but there's no like noteworthy comments to make about it. Hopefully it'll start picking up a little bit soon and I can get my teeth into it potentially more tomorrow now, because I'm not going to read too much physically today. So that's the kind of like reading update for today, but I'll keep you posted. Peace out, and I'll see you tomorrow when we have to spin the wheel once again.
Least day ever. Every stands Highride. Lately knows the pressure you need to get going on the adoption stuff. She's supposed to start processing things. We only have a couple months left. So this week, even though I'm not technically in school, I have homework. Here's what I'm supposed to do by Friday. Fill out the non-identified information form. Yay. That sounds like a strict dentist. More about dentists later. Start going through the potentially adoptive parent files. These are the applications for the couples who want babies. Who want you. In other words, I have to start picking your parents. No pressure. At first, all the couples seemed exactly the same to me. There are no names attached to these people. Just a sea of signing photographs and a hopeful I do about their lives. Their dreams of parenthood lay right out there for me.
Officially happy Friday. As you saw earlier, I'm going to enter the clip now because I did this clip when it was like 5 o'clock in the morning because I was so excited to spin to see what I was going to read for the day. So drum roll please. 2 hours! I have to read for 2 hours a day. I don't know if I'm going to do that. Not gonna lie, I haven't read anything at all today. Work has been busy. And I said to myself at the beginning of the day, being like, oh, I work from home, it'll be fine. I'm going to challenge myself to not use the audiobook today to help me accomplish this goal, because yesterday, the only reason I managed to read 1.5 hours is because of the audiobook. I didn't read anything physically yesterday, even though I said I was going to, I didn't. So I feel like a little bit of a cheater, purely because I managed to only accomplish that goal yesterday because I read via audiobook, which is fine. Like, I don't mind that, but I want to like read physically. I want to read physically more, which is why I did the challenge in the first place. So I said to myself at the beginning of today, I'm going to challenge myself to read only physically today for that 2 hour time period. If I want to read more outside of that as an audiobook, that's fine, but those 2 hours I have to be physical. However, I don't know if that's going to be achievable now because I'm coming up to at the end of my work day, and then it's dinner, and guess what, guys? Sex Education, the final season, has just come out, and you know what me and Mark are going to be watching for the rest of the weekend. So I'm not sure how much reading I'm going to get done today, and it's only 2 hours. I can do that. I can do that, but Sex Education might not allow me to do that, and that's not my fault. That's not my fault. But just as like a reading update, I managed to get to page 190 yesterday in The How and the Why. It is a chunky boy, this book. It's like 450 pages, so I still have quite a while to read in this book, but I am really, really enjoying it. Could this be like one of the highest rated YAs I've read this year? Potentially. Stay tuned to find out, but it's definitely feeling like a 4-star at the minute, and that is a tough push for a YA for me these days. However, I think the reason I didn't physically read at all yesterday is because I'm not really loving this book. Sadly, I'm sorry, Chloe. I'm sorry if you're if you're watching this, I'm sorry, but I'm not loving it, and I'm over 100 pages in. I'm on 133, so I haven't picked this book up since Tuesday when I had like the 4.5 hours to read. That's why I wanted today to solely focus on the physical book, because I wanted to get like a massive chunk of this done and just kind of like see how I'm feeling. That's still technically the plan today, but I don't know if it's going to happen. I'll keep you posted. I'm not going to have a chance to read now until after I finish work, which will be 5 p.m. And then it's, like I said, dinner, sex ed. So we'll see how much I can read. I'm hoping I can do it because it's a Friday. I don't need to technically get up early tomorrow, but my body is so synced with my 9 p.m. bedtime, 5 a.m. wake up, I even do it on the weekends now, and I can't help it. No matter how late I go to bed, I wake up at 5, so I really do need to get that sleep. So we'll see what happens, but that's like the reading update for Friday. I don't actually think I'm gonna get my September TBR done this weekend now, because obviously the other book I wanted to read this week was I Heart Christmas. Potentially, if I get like a 5-hour tomorrow and Sunday, potentially I could still get that done, but we'll just go with the flow. I've got 2 hours today. Let's focus on that first, Rachel. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. And I'll keep you posted, but it's 50-50 at the minute whether I'll complete it today or not. Only just sitting down to read. It is like 5:30. Mark is in charge of dinner tonight, very gratefully, so I can focus on reading. So I'm just gonna read until, I don't know, hopefully like an hour has passed while Mark cooks dinner and gets that all organised, and then we'll probably watch a couple of episodes of Sex Education, and then hopefully I can read an hour before bed. That's the plan. Whether it will go to plan, that's the next big question. So let's stop rambling, let's stop procrastinating, because I have procrastinated with washing up and shaking out the blankets in case any big spiders were in the blanket basket, because we've had a lot of big spiders recently and I don't trust those little bastards. So I've done some procrastinating. It's now time to sit down and read. I'm going to start the timer. Let's go. We've had dinner. And it's now 8 o'clock and I haven't read anything. I still have an hour and 45 minutes left to read. No. Happy Saturday. Both Mark and I are up early today because F1 is on early. It's on in like 15 minutes. But before that, I thought I'd spin my wheel with you guys. I did manage to read my 2.5 hours yesterday. I finished at 10 p.m. and then both Mark and I went straight to bed. So I didn't update, but I did manage to get to almost all of this book. I got to page 278. So I'm doing well. Hopefully I can finish today with today's timer, but I'm just not really vibing with this book. It started off as like a contemporary women's literature chick flick sort of book about two best friends who were rekindling after some time had passed that they kind of hadn't spoken to each other. And we had this like weird chapter where we found out that the main character's job was like an influencer, but that's never kind of really recircled back into the plot. So I don't really get why that was kind of mentioned in such quite detail. And then all of a sudden my jaw dropped reading this book and I was like, what the fuck is going on? This book has taken a complete turn. I checked Goodreads and in the genres it is described as a mystery. So I'm not going to say anything in case you want to read it, but it completely threw me off. I'm just kind of like, I'm kind of semi more invested now because of this kind of like mystery plot that's kind of revealed itself, but it's so jarring, and I've read other reviews and people have also said how jarring it is, so I'm not the only one. How the genre's like completely switched, but not in like a good way, like it's so jarring to the reader. Like I'm not massively inclined to like read it or pick it up, but I want to finish it because I do think with my time today I could pick it up and finish it, but it's not going to be any more than a 3-star. Depending on the last about 100 pages, it could even be a 2.5. Just not really vibing with the writing style. I think it's very dense, very overwritten, not really connected to any of the characters, don't really care what's going on, and especially like now it's a mystery, you would think you would care a bit more, and I do care ever so slightly more, but still not enough to kind of really know what's going on. So unfortunately I'm not really vibing with this book, but I'm going to finish it anyway. But without further ado, let's do the timer for the day. Oh, and surprise, it's now Saturday and Sunday. 2 days left of this challenge, which by the way I'm really enjoying doing this challenge and want to do it again in the future. But because it's the weekend and I have, you would think, more time to read, I've added some more slots to my spinner wheel. So I've now gone to 5.5 hours, 6 hours, 6.5 hours, and 7 hours. So there's more choice today to find out how much I'm going to be reading for. I have got cleaning and stuff to do today, so audiobook will massively come in handy if I get a higher number of hours. But without further ado, without procrastinating, before F1 starts in 10 minutes, let's spin the wheel. It's going to be a high number now. I've added them. I can feel it. Only 2.5 hours. I'm definitely going to be reading more than that today, just because there's not really much else on. I've just got to edit a video, do some cleaning, do the food shop, and other than that, because F1's on so early, there's a lot of time left in the day to do things. So I'm going to be definitely reading more than that. I'm kind of sad that I didn't get a higher number. But 2.5 hours, I can do that. That was the same as yesterday. Or was it 2 hours yesterday? It was 2 hours yesterday. It was the same as Monday. I got 2.5 hours on Monday. So yeah, another shortish day, but I'm going to read more than that anyway because I want to finish Big Summer and I'd love to get a massive chunk of The How and the Why done as well. And try and start a new book. That would be amazing. So I'm definitely going to try and read more today anyway. But yeah, only 2.5 hours to officially read, which is kind of a bit sad. But anyhow, it's a happy Saturday. I'm going to go enjoy the F1, have some breakfast, do the food shop, and then I'll keep you updated on when I start reading. It's 1:15 and I'm just sat down to read for the day. So let's just start with the 2.5 hour time and see where we go from there. But I want to try and finish this book today. I have about 80 pages left of it, so should definitely be doable. Sprint on like the next sprint, because I'm currently sprinting with Chloe from Chloe Reads Books. You'll know her by now. She's currently doing a 48 hour readathon for her Vampire Diaries readathon. Like I've said, I think in this vlog already, I'm not partaking in that readathon, but I'm making use of the sprints to kind of help me read. It feels really weird to have already watched F1 for the day because usually it's around this sort of time and we're just settling in to watch it, and that's not the case today, so I have no excuse but to start my book and get this timer going. So yes, about to start reading for the day and I'll keep posted. Another book done. I have an hour and 20 minutes left on the timer. It took me an hour and 10 minutes to finish the last 80 pages of Big Summer. I didn't love it. I'm going to give it 2.5 stars. I just never really cared for the characters, never really connected to the story. Felt it very jarring from when it changed over from general fiction contemporary to mystery and kind of like finding out who killed someone. So yeah, didn't love it, unfortunately. I'm sorry, Chloe, but it is now read, it is finished, so I can continue on with The How and the Why by Cynthia Han, which I am loving. I'm actually going to just go straight into that now and continue listening to the audiobook and read along with it, because I just want to kind of like keep on my reading roll, because I've still got obviously an hour and 20 minutes left on the timer, and I did say this morning I'd like to read more than that as well, so I should probably get crack-a-lacking, seeing it is 4 o'clock, and yeah, I've barely made a dent in the timer, so let's go. This is Bedcam, I've decided to name it. I have finished my timer for the day. Here's me saying at 6 o'clock this morning that I was going to like smash 2.5 hours, it was going to be so easy to complete, and that I was going to read way more than that. It is now 10 o'clock and I've just finished my timer for the day. Today did not go as planned. Chores took a bit longer and then I cooked dinner. We watched a couple of episodes of Sex Education and we had an hour and a half nap. So really, I read for as much as I could. And I did finish one book. I read 80 pages of the remainder of Big Summer, which obviously I told you about, and I've read over 100 pages of The How and the Why. Still really enjoying this, but there's nothing really to update in terms of like what other things I enjoy. It's the same things that I enjoy. I love the family dynamic. I love how close she is with her family. I love the story. I just love the plot. I love the fact that you still constantly get letters from her birth mother telling her like the birth mother side of the story throughout this book. And it's just, I really like the storytelling. I love the plot. I love the fact that the family's so involved in a YA. And I just think it's a really mature YA book and I'm absolutely loving it. So yeah, I can't wait to finish it. I'm on page 300, so I have about 150 pages left to read. Yeah, about 150 pages left to read. It's about an hour left on the audiobook. I'm not going to read for much longer because, like I said, it is coming up to 10 o'clock and F1 is on at 6 a.m. tomorrow, so I need to get an early night and make sure I'm awake for F1 because it's the race tomorrow. Piastri and Norris are second and third on the grid, and if you didn't know, I support McLaren completely, so I'm very happy about my boys in second and third, so I want to support them and be up at 6 a.m. So I'm not going to read for too much longer, but I'm going to read for a little bit more. So therefore, just to keep on top of exactly how much I'm reading each day this week, if I complete my timer, I start a stopwatch and just see how much more I can read. So I'm going to start my stopwatch now, read a bit more before falling asleep, and then I'll keep you posted on what I read in the morning. But so far today I have read actually quite a lot, just not as much as I wanted to. I'm kind of hoping tomorrow's timer is like the 6.5, 7 hours, so I can literally just fully focus on reading tomorrow because I have no other plans apart from F1 at 6 a.m. So yes, I'm excited for tomorrow. Fingers crossed for a high number. Will I regret saying that? I don't know, maybe, but night, and I'll talk to you in the morning.
Shaped to capture the imagination. It's a power that takes us further.
Oh, I thought, why is it always, I feel like this fucking wheel's jinx. I've had like 2 hours like 4 times. I'm going to spin again because I can definitely read more than 2 hours and I'm going to push myself today, so let's go. These are at 7 hours and I can't do 7 hours. I just want like 5. No, spin again. I'm not doing an hour.
You got so many, it's not hitting any of the others.
I know.
There you go, spinner.
Yeah, I know, but like the other side of the spinner would be great. One more time. 4 times likely. And I'll do whatever this one tells me to do.
Do whatever the highest one is.
Yeah, okay, that's a good shout. Okay, out of all of them. Okay, 3 it is then. Alright then. Why? I want like a 6 or a 7 or a 5. Boo.
Happy Sunday. This morning we woke up early for F1, and as you saw, I spun the wheel about 4 times because I was like, I want to get a really high number. And I just wasn't getting a high number. I was getting 1 hour, 2.5 hours, 2 hours, 3 hours, and then Mark just said, just pick the highest number that you get out of those 4 spins, and it was 3 hours. So I did 3 hours, or I haven't done 3 hours yet. I'm going to be doing 3 hours today. I did want some more kind of like high numbers this week, but also very, very happy with what I've done this week and how much I've actually managed to read. So overall, this challenge has gone excellently well, and very proud of myself for how much I've read. I'm really like animated and excited because I've just spent some time reading to finish my current read. So the timer started at 3 hours and it took me 55 minutes to finish my current read, which obviously is The How and the Why by Cynthia Hand. I was finishing this off and I was actually 5 pages away from the end, and I said to Mark, if the plot twist I anticipate, which I only just anticipated, and I was 5 pages away from the end, happens, this book is going to pull from a 4.5 stars to a 5 stars, and that plot twist happened and I was squealing. I cannot believe this YA that I wasn't really that excited to read has become a 5 star. I absolutely adore this book. I want to cry. Oh, it's so good. Oh, it's so emotional, it's heartwarming, it's heart-wrenching. It's about self-discovery and self-love and friendship and family, and just maybe I am just on a book high and it probably maybe is a 4.5, but the way that book made me feel at the end, just like a squealing of excitement, and like how the whole book kind of came together. If you've read this book and you know what the ending I'm talking about is about, then you need to message me because I need to talk to someone about this. I don't know anyone who's read this book, and I know, Chloe, you have it on your TBR. Please up it. I think you'd really, really enjoy it. Yes, 5 star. Which is so exciting. So yeah, incredible. Highly recommend you read this if you haven't given it a go or you don't know what it's about. It basically follows our main character Cass, who was adopted at 6 weeks old into her kind of loving family, and she's always been happy, and then when she turns 18 she starts on this journey to kind of discover who her birth mother is, and you get letters from her birth mother explaining the birth mother side of the story throughout this book, and that is really what connects the story and kind of pulls everything together, is those letters that you get in the in-between chapters about the birth mother and her history and her kind of journey of like having the pregnancy and having the relationship with her birth father, and then you also get Cass' obviously journey of discovering who her birth mother is, and it's just beautiful. I really enjoyed this book. I never felt in this like almost 500 page book that it felt slow at all at any point. I thought it was perfect pacing, and I was just constantly intrigued, constantly wanted to pick it up and read it. And yeah, I can't believe it's a YA. It's definitely a more mature YA. I definitely think it's for like the older YA audience, which is probably why I've enjoyed it more, because it's definitely not kind of like juvenile in any way. So yeah, I could talk about this for ages. Absolutely adored it. So excited. It was a 5-star. But obviously I still have 2 hours and 5 minutes left on my timer. So my next port of call is to read the last book that's on my September TBR. My goal at the beginning of the week was to finish my September TBR, but obviously this wasn't on my September TBR, so if I hadn't read that book I might have finished it. But the next book I need to read is I Heart Christmas. This is obviously another book that I'm going to be reading mixed media. I'm going to be listening to the audiobook and reading along with it. This is a reread for me. This is the 6th book. Yeah, the 6th book in the I Heart series by Lindsay Kelk, the first one being I Heart New York. I'm currently making my way through rereading the entire series for the first time and tabbing them up because I first listened to them all as audiobooks. So now I have the physical books. I'm going through and kind of rereading them, tabbing them up, writing in them and making them part of my forever collection. And I'm on the 6th one. So this basically follows, this whole series follows our main character Angela, who when her fiance is cheating on her at her best friend's wedding in the first book, she ups and leaves her life in the UK and ships off to America, to New York City, and kind of rediscovers herself, creates a whole new life for herself, meets new best friend, new men, romance, and she sets up a life over there. And every single book just follows her on different adventures, and this is book number 6. I can't remember what happens in book number 6, so I'm very excited to delve in. It's definitely like dark and cozy and warm. It's not warm, it's definitely like dreary and dark and cozy kind of vibes today. So this is the next book I'm going to start, which I'm very excited for. So yeah, we're on a roll. These books fly by and I still have 2 hours of reading to do, and that's the minimum I need to read today, so we might actually get a lot of reading done. So we'll see what happens, but I'm on such a high after finishing this book. It was so good. So yeah, I'm going to take a little bit of a break from reading right now and jump into I Heart Christmas a little bit later. But yeah, that's the update. Happy Sunday. I will keep you posted. Now my battery is charged, because that's why I didn't kind of vlog anything this morning, because my battery had died. So hi, welcome to the vlog. You're in it for the long haul because this is a long brand new vlog. I hope you're enjoying it. Give it a thumbs up if you are, and I'll keep posted on my reading. As you can see, it's a hell of a lot later now. It's just coming up to 9 o'clock, aka my bedtime, so I thought I'd come in and sign off this vlog and let you know that I managed to read for 3 hours today. I am so glad, retrospectively, that at the time it didn't give me any more time than the 3 hours, because I just don't know if I can actually read more than like 4 hours in a day, just because there's like other things I want to do, chill out with Mark, watch some Netflix, like I had to cook dinner, like there's just like things I need to get on with my life now. So I'm still really impressed with the amount I've read this week, let alone today. So obviously I finished The How and the Why, which was around 80 pages this morning, and then I got started on my next read, which was I Heart Christmas by Lindsay Kelk. I don't know whether like I'm glad, but it's not actually that Christmassy. It's set in December, it's set like the week before Christmas, but it's not really that Christmassy at all. It mainly kind of follows Angela as she's like settled into, I can't really say about spoilers. If you don't want a spoiler for this series, I'll put a timestamp, but it's kind of like her settling in with her and Alex now they've got married, and just kind of like life from there. So yeah, it's just interesting. I love it. Once again, I just love the characters and Angela, and just I love the whole series. I love the writing. This is such a comfort series for me. So I managed to get 180 pages into this book, which I'm really impressed with. I'm like over halfway, which is incredible, like just over halfway, and I'm really enjoying this one. I'm tabbing up and writing in it, and it's just making me very happy to read. So yeah, overall today I've read 180 plus 80, there's a spider on my ceiling. I've read 267 pages, which is brilliant. So let's go to my stats for the week. So on Monday, I got 2.5 hours on the timer and I read 149 pages of 7 Days of June. On Tuesday, I got a 1 hour timer, but I read for an hour and 13 minutes, reading 89 pages of the 7 Days of June and finishing it. On Wednesday, that was my biggest day. I got 4.5 hours of reading time and I read 106 pages of The How and the Why via audiobook, and then I read 132 pages of Big Summer physically. That was a stretch for me. I really just about managed to read 4.5 hours that day. On Thursday, I got an hour and a half timer and I read 84 pages of The How and the Why. On Friday, I got a 2 hour timer and I read 145 pages of Big Summer. And then on Saturday, I got a 3 hour timer, reading for 3 hours and 10 minutes, finishing off Big Summer by reading 77 pages and then reading 169 pages of The How and the Why. And then today, Sunday, I got given a 3 hour timer. I read 87 pages of The How and the Why, finishing it, and then read 183 pages of I Heart Christmas. So overall, let's just do some quick maths. So in total, this week, I've read a total of 1,221 pages. I'm calling that a major, major success. Exciting. And I read for a total of 17 hours and 43 minutes this week. That sounds impressive, so I'm going to take it. I'm really, really chuffed with how much I managed to read this week, and I definitely think this challenge has made me read more this week, which I'm very, very grateful for because that's kind of what I wanted. My TBR for the beginning of the week was to finish 7 Days of June, read Big Summer, and read I Heart Christmas to finish my entire September TBR. However, I needed an audiobook throughout the week, so I picked up The How and the Why. So my overall reading was finishing the 7 Days of June, reading Big Summer, reading The How and the Why, and starting I Heart Christmas. So I actually think I did better than I wanted to do because I basically started and finished another book and got a hell of a lot of way through my final book for my September TBR. So enough rambling and all the stats and stuff. I really, really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you give it a massive thumbs up and subscribe down below to see future content from me. I do anything from weekly reading vlogs, monthly TBRs, monthly wrap-ups, and any other bookish content that you can think of. I usually have on this channel, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any more future content. And that being said, I'll see you in my next video. Bye guys.